Could the fate of a world war truly hinge on a single remote port town nestled within the fjords of a neutral nation? In the spring of 1940, the answer was a resounding yes, as the strategic calculations of great powers converged on the ice-free Norwegian harbor of Narvik. For the German war machine, Norway was not merely a territorial prize, but an absolute necessity, a linchpin for its entire military-industrial complex and its ambitions for naval dominance. The reasons were twofold, each critical to the Reich's survival and expansion. Firstly, control of Norway would provide a series of invaluable forward bases for naval units, particularly the dreaded U-boats, allowing them to surge into the North Atlantic and wage a far more effective campaign of attrition against the vital Allied shipping lanes. Secondly, and perhaps most pressingly, it was about securing the uninterrupted flow of a single crucial resource, iron ore. German industry, the very furnace of its military might, was profoundly dependent on vast imports of high-grade iron ore sourced from the mines deep within Swedish Lapland. While Sweden itself was neutral, the logistics of transporting this ore presented a seasonal vulnerability. During the warmer months, shipments could traverse the Baltic Sea, but winter's icy grip closed this route, leaving only one viable, all-weather outlet. That outlet was the Norwegian port of Narvik. From here, the ore could be loaded onto freighters and navigate the coastal waters southward to Germany, bypassing the frozen sea. Consequently, control over the Norwegian coast, and especially Narvik, was not just an advantage, it was a strategic imperative. To lose access to the supply line would be to starve German steel production, and to allow the Allies to control it would be to tighten a devastating blockade from which the German economy might never recover. The German victory in Norway would ultimately achieve both of its primary objectives, guaranteeing safe passage for the Swedish iron ore transports and granting the German Navy, its submarine fleet in particular, unparalleled access to the vast battleground of the North Atlantic. The path to securing Norway, however, ran directly through its southern neighbor. The invasion of Denmark, launched concurrently, was not an independent objective, but a critical supporting action, a foundational move designed to ensure the success of the main Norwegian campaign. The primary purpose of the attack on Denmark was to secure the logistical support required for the larger operation to the north and to more effectively guarantee the continued shipment of that vital iron ore from Narvik. German military planners identified the port just outside Aalborg, located in northern Jutland, as indispensable for the movement of troops and supplies into Norway. Furthermore, the Oberkommando der Kriegsmarine, the High Command of the German Navy, saw the occupation of Denmark as a crucial step in extending Germany's maritime defensive perimeter. By controlling the Danish peninsula, they could push their sea defense capabilities significantly farther to the north, creating a formidable barrier that would make it substantially more difficult for British naval forces to outflank their positions and intercept German vessels as they began their predatory attacks on Allied shipping in the Atlantic. While Germany viewed Norway through a lens of strategic necessity, the Allies were equally aware of its importance, despite the nation's declared neutrality. For Great Britain, the situation was a mirror image of Germany's. The very iron ore route that was Germany's lifeline was a critical vulnerability they sought to sever. The British understood that Germany's war effort was heavily reliant on the Swedish ore exported through Narvik, a dependency that became absolute during the harsh winter months when the Baltic Sea was impassable. Recognizing this choke point, Britain began to formulate its own plans to intervene. The strategy was not to invade, but to disrupt. The British planned to lay a series of mines along the Norwegian coast, a move calculated to cripple the ore transports and choke off the supply to German factories. This looming Allied action created a sense of urgency in Berlin, transforming the invasion from a strategic option into a preemptive strike. The German goals were thus clearly defined: seize the port of Narvik, secure the coastal shipping lanes known as the leads through which the ore was transported, and establish firm control over the entire country to prevent any potential collaboration with the Allies. In a masterful stroke of propaganda, the entire operation was to be framed not as an act of aggression, but as an armed protection of Norway's fragile neutrality. On the 9th of April 1940, these plans were set into motion. German forces launched Operation Weserübung, a swift and audacious combined arms campaign to occupy both Denmark and Norway. From the outset, Narvik was designated as a prime target, the crown jewel of the entire operation. The strategic rationale remained unchanged. The seizure of the port was paramount to guaranteeing the delivery of the iron ore essential for German steel production. In the far north, however, the German advance did not go uncontested. A fierce and desperate battle erupted for control of the harbor town. Here, an unlikely coalition of Norwegian, French, and Polish troops mounted a determined resistance. They were bolstered by the formidable power of the British Royal Navy and the Royal Air Force, which provided crucial support from the sea and air. For a time, their efforts proved successful. The Allied forces fought with tenacity, and on the 28th of May, they achieved a significant victory, driving the German invaders out of Narvik itself. Yet this hard-won triumph was to be tragically short-lived. While the battle for a remote Norwegian port raged, the wider war on the European continent was tilting catastrophically in Germany's favor. The deteriorating situation in France, where the German blitzkrieg was shattering Allied defenses, demanded an immediate and drastic reallocation of resources. The Allied command made the painful decision to abandon their foothold in Norway. Under the codename Operation Alphabet, the multinational force was withdrawn, leaving the region to its fate. The consequences were immediate. On the 9th of June, German forces re-entered and recaptured Narvik. They found a ghost town, its civilian population having fled the relentless and destructive bombing raids carried out by the Luftwaffe. The battle for Norway was over. Germany had secured its northern flank, its naval bases, and most critically, its indispensable supply of iron ore, ensuring that the furnaces of the Third Reich would continue to burn brightly for the long and brutal years of war that lay ahead. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment with your thoughts or next video ideas.